Welcome to the Think Theory podcast. My name is Brian, and I'm here to help you build the life that you love by inspiring, leading, and motivating, and helping you have a better day than yesterday. Let's get it. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Dude, I so originally I just had that sound on, and I was like, I don't know. I think he's right. He's missing something. And then, like, I played that, and I was like, how can I do this? How can I put my motto in there and everything? And I was like, fuck, that's fantastic.
I told you though, because it was like it was good, but I'm like, I know if he do,
It's that little bit, bro. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Bro, we're here. We're excited. What's up? And tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Ignore the camera. Don't pretend anyone's here. You can be as raw and as honest as you want to be. You know, if you want to say something and you say it afterwards, you want me to edit it out, just say it. You know what I mean? I could do that. But, yeah. I mean.
I don't know, man.
All right, listen. I'll start it off then. I mean, first of all, you're my actual first guest, you know, because I told you my first episode was with my best man, you know, but he, you know, with him, he's my best friend, you know,
right.
So it was just like a regular conversation. I pretty much linked up with you in the beginning of the summer,
Right?
You know what I mean? And I don't even know how the conversation started. I think it started something talking about your business.
Yeah,
you know
right.
What I mean?
We was talking about actually it started our conversation. I think our conversation was specifically about business. It wasn't like about like my business
or just in general, right?
Yeah. And then we just started like,
I don't know. We just started talking after. I think you told me about your business after we were talking about business, because then I was like, bro, I can help you out. I was like, listen, I know that I failed in my business before, but I learned a lot through those failures.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, this I think this would be good. You know what I mean? So that's definitely. Give me 1 second here. Let me noise gate. Yeah. Test. There we go. Just need to add a little. All right, but yeah, no, that was like the first time that we like linked up and everything, and then I think one day we just started talking after work in the parking lot.
Right. We had got off and we was walking up, and while we was walking up, we was talking about mental health.
Yeah.
And we was talking about family.
Yeah.
Religion. It was just like a bunch of things that we was like just talking about, and it just flowed.
Yeah, see, bro, It's hard to find people like that too. You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, the only reason that works is because you're obviously you're building a better relationship with yourself enough to be able to be honest and transparent. That's the same thing for me,
right.
You know. But I've been cultivating that for many years now, and it's, you know, there's a lot of people that don't want. There's even with myself, there's certain times that I just don't want to do those particular things that involve kind of looking in the mirror, for lack of better words, because it's like sometimes you look in the mirror and you kind of feel really crappy about yourself. But the more that you do that, the more that you feel comfortable talking about those hardships and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of why I flowed, because, I mean, you kind of wear your garbage on your sleeve when someone asks you about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't just go talking about it and stuff like that. But I think your story is really kind of what interested me, you know? So, like, where did you grow up? How old were you when you were in, you know, if you want to talk about that life anyways, that you had, I would love to.
Nah, we could go there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, man. That's where I grew up at. Growing up there, I had to grow up fast. So I went to jail at a real early age. I went to jail when I was 14.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I went to jail when I was 14. I was 14 years old. Yeah, at the age of 14, I got charged with attempted murder, and I end up doing 7.5 years, a little close to 8 years, and I came home like at the age of 20. I was 23, going on 23. I was going on 23.
How old are you now?
I'm 31.
Oh wow, so that was a good bit ago.
Yeah. Then I had came. My mom is originally from Harrisburg, and so when I came home when I was 23, I didn't have no kids at this time. I didn't, like, it was just me. I got into the streets in Harrisburg, and I ended up going back to jail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ended up going back to jail, and I went to federal prison. And I did close to 5 years in federal prison.
I was gonna be. I don't mean to interrupt you. Just shift the mic a little bit over, so like you have to like talk like right on it. Yeah, you can move it closer to you or move closer. I know it's weird, but
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. So and I ended up going to to federal prison. And while I was in federal prison, I feel like that's when I really became a man. And
Really?
yeah, I feel like I mean, like, before I went there, like, I was doing manly things, but I wasn't a man. I was being selfish. Like, I was being selfish, and I really didn't care about other people's feelings. I didn't care about respecting people.
That's interesting because like you often don't hear that with people that go into the prison system to begin with, meaning that you don't hear the fact that that's when it seems like that was a pivotal moment in your life for the better. And it's often usually the polar opposite. Like, you know how some people tend to go through certain things in their life, and you can kind of adapt a certain mentality. You can, it's like, you know what, I'm not going to let that define me, and I'm going to change and use it to my benefit. Or you kind of play the victim, like, fuck this system, fuck that, excuse my language, but like, like they're like, this system screwing me over, yada, yada. But it's like, you sounds like you took responsibility at that time for accountability for yourself.
I for surely did that, and it's a lot of people. There's people that's like that, and because with this, when it comes to the system, like, the system have done people wrong, but it's just in my case, right? With me being honest with myself before I be honest with anybody else, right? What I did, and I accepted my consequences for what I did. I mean, without putting nobody else at jeopardy or nothing like that. I accepted that. So with me accepting that, it's like, now what you gonna do?
Right.
Right? You was honest with yourself about that. Now what you gonna do? And I decided that I'm going to go the hard way. And the hard way is the right way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
was there something in particular that happened that made you have that level of accountability, or was it just a simple act that you went to prison again for the second time that caused like a shift in your mind that's like, okay, now I need to accept this. This is what I did. Like, was there a particular event, for lack of better words?
For real, me being in the federal system and me being on a planes and me being shackled
on
a plane, me being locked up next to a guy that never killed nobody, right? That never even assaulted nobody in his life. That was serving the rest of his life in prison, and he transferred him. He been all over the world. That's what kind of like
clicked.
did it. Yeah, that is like, it's like he really living the rest of his life
in prison. Right.
And he ain't take a life.
That's
that, like, and it's still like, and he was a great guy. He was a great guy. And that's what he did. He sat there and he just said, "This is what it is," and he accepted that. That's hard. Think about that. Just think about this. Really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, people
think about he did something wrong.
Right.
I mean, like, he'd tell you that, like, yeah, I was selling this amount, and I mean, but I don't feel like I deserve all this time, but this is what they gave me, and that's just what he doing.
Wow, so that's what he just got it from selling stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like he just gave up his fight. I feel like he gave up his fight.
Do you know? Was he older?
Yeah, he was already. I mean, like, he was serving time before I was even born.
Oh man, so that's probably why. That's a difficult. That's a it's a very soul crushing thing. It's very. It's kind of almost like feeling there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, right. But so with me sitting there, like, at first I wasn't really thinking about it. Like, there in the moment, like, when we was on that plane, and like, I wasn't really thinking about. I wasn't thinking about, like, hey, he knowing all this time. It was more like me being into the conversation with him and listening to what he was saying,
like, really taking it in.
Yeah, because I always listened to older people, even when I was like in a phase of being real disrespectful to people for no reason, like when I was mad at the world.
Was there a particular reason? Let me let you finish and then I'll ask this.
Yeah. So after that, though, once I had got this one, they had shipped me to Oklahoma. I had went out. They had me out Oklahoma, and out there, like, I knew I wasn't going to be there. Like they didn't keep me in Oklahoma for a long time, so I really didn't have a whole lot in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I had like a radio or whatever, and they had like tablets. So anyway, while I was listening to the radio, and now mind you, I'm it was really the noise thing. Like I had to listen to noise for me to go to sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would start thinking about
His story and the guy.
what he had said, and that's kind of like what it was. And then through the midst of like my time in federal prison, like a lot of other things that I experienced or
Right.
seen, and the people that I met there, it was like, yeah.
Was there a particular reason why you kind of hated the world? Something that, like, was there an event that may have happened, or was it someone that you maybe had saw? Like, was that just because you grew up with an environment of people that also similarly had like the same mentality, so you adopted that at an early age, or did you have something in particular that may have happened?
Yeah, I mean, all I feel like majority of the things like with my culture is not normal. And what I mean by my culture, like poverty, me growing up in poverty, like just poverty, me growing up in poverty itself is what made me like that. Because it was like, why me?
Right.
And me not ever understanding or getting an answer for it.
Right.
Right. So it was like, yeah, it was
That
like,
makes sense though, because I mean, right now you're an adult. Not that you can't do this when you're younger, but it's a lot more difficult. But like right now, you can control how much money you make. You know what I mean? And it's like when you're a child and you have these big, what I would kind of identify as existential questions that are much bigger than yourself, and much bigger than maybe even some other people that you live with and in your culture. Like, why did I get chosen that card? Like, to me, that is a very strong seed to plant to develop hatred, because it's like, what did I do to deserve to be born into this?
right. And it's like now those same, like the same things that made me feel like it was like the world against me and everyone else that I love and I care, like the same stuff that had me doing bad things is what got me like becoming the man I am today.
Do you ever think that maybe that's the way, the life that you live and that purpose is the way that God intended it for you to live? Because maybe you like, so for me, obviously, like, well, I shouldn't say obviously, because some of the people watching may not know, but I know that I've told you this, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And that's something that for many years I developed a lot of hatred about. And I developed like these bigger questions to myself, like, what the hell did I do to deserve that? The same thing as you. And it kind of sent me to a dark path. And it wasn't until probably the past like 5-6 years that I've really realized that, first of all, obviously God gives us the ability to choose. And unfortunately, some people choose to do very bad things with those things,
Right.
and they decide to, turn away the spirit of God completely by doing such a heinous crime. And one of the things that I learned was through that, maybe this is what God intended to happen or whatever, but I realized that I can turn that into a positive to be able to impact other people. Did you ever kind of have a similar mentality in that aspect where you're like, maybe God put me in that situation so I can positively impact other people? Or
See, when it really, I wouldn't say that 100% it was that. It wasn't 100% that. It was more of me just really not having an understanding. Like, that, like, there's bad things and there's bad people out there. Like, I just didn't have...
right, because that was just your normal in the environment that you grew up in. And
Yeah.
with poverty, that's usually an association.
Exactly.
I understand.
But it did it made me angry. It made me angry with people.
Right.
Yeah, man. I've been through, I've been through what you've been through before too. And it hurt, and it hurt him more that for me that didn't nobody believe me that this lady was doing this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she had me doing it. So now when I'm in school, when I was in school, and like I'm with like little girls and we playing, I'm thinking what I'm doing
Mm-hmm. Is normal.
Is normal, and
Right.
I'm playing,
Right.
right? So
Not now. You meant back then.
back then, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then, back
Because I
then.
think you said now, but you were referring to
Referring
that
to
time
back,
frame to
absolutely, yeah,
clarify
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
still was a child. I
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
was a child.
But no, I definitely understand that
Yeah.
because I've recently, brought that up with my therapist. I was like, listen, when I was like really little, I remember this very particular instance, and it was like, by then, I was like, like looking back at it, like I carry guilt in it because similar situation with you. You're like, well, that's all I know, because that's what I was taught to do in silence. So it was a normal for me in my life. And then like obviously it just happened to be that we were little kids. Not that I didn't take it anywhere near to the extreme that it was taken for me, but more like just simple things like more touchiness, like with each other, like holding hands and stuff like that, which wasn't normal at a very early age, because it happened to me when I was like 6, 7, around there. I don't remember anywhere from, it was like 6, 7, 8 around that time frame, so around people in that age group, like I found myself being more, interested, I would say, in females a lot more quicker than I felt other people around me were, and trying to like get a girlfriend or whatever and stuff like that, so we
Right.
can be intimate. And it's like, you know, that was a normal thing for me. But now, obviously, looking back at it, it was like, no, it's not.
Right, right. So it kind of like, even like with that. So it kind of like, once it was like, dang, I was, when I was a child, I'm thinking that this is normal. Like, I'm thinking that it is normal for me to be like this, like playing, like I'm playing, because
Right.
this is what it.
Right. That's what playing was.
Yeah, like with her, and that, and then for me being I'm a little boy, like
Right.
I liked it.
Right.
You see
right.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
so it was like that was becoming the thing, and then it started coming back to me because now I'm getting in trouble for the stuff that I'm doing,
Right.
that I'm thinking is normal. So now in my mind I'm getting confused because now it's starting to make me not like them either. Like, you know, man.
Like they were almost like making you the black sheep, for lack of better
Yeah,
words. And you're
like-
I don't understand. This is normal. Like in my
Yeah,
life.
like why you don't like me?
Right. What
Like,
did I do wrong?
I'm like, yeah, I'm cool.
Right.
I mean, so that became a conflict. So it was like, now it's like I don't need no friends. Like
Right.
I don't need nobody. I don't need to play with nobody. So I started learning, to do things a lot by myself. And I still have a problem with that a little bit, like to this day. Like that's one thing that I could say that like I've been working on for a real long time.
Like when you so elaborate that a little bit more. Like if you can give a more, I guess, recent example of how you struggle with that, if you don't mind sharing. I know that it's nowhere near as bad as that, but I just like a more common example that probably more people like can relate to, for lack of better words.
Like through my experiences in my life, like with freedom and without freedom, right? It's like everyone that I allowed in my world or allowed in my life either judged me, betrayed me,
Ooh,
right?
that's hard.
Or just didn't act themselves around me because of either what I've been through or what I could bring to their life.
I see that part. I have a problem with that, and that might have to do obviously with my past and stuff like that. Stuff that I've gone through. But through this entire journey, one of the things that I've learned is every single one of us are fighting our own battles. We all have our own demons that we're fighting with, and it allowed me to have a lot more grace for people when they came at me in that particular situation. It just kind of, I don't know if you can relate, but it just kind of felt like everything that would otherwise come more easily to other people it was an uphill battle for me nonstop. So it's like, let's just say take your past away, right? And you came and met John Schmo in the street that may have known you, oh yeah, I know you, like, what's up? Like, it'd be normal. Now it's like, because they may have known you or known your past, like you almost have to convince them that that's not my life anymore. And it's like, it's something that would otherwise be just a normal interaction now becomes a form of persuasiveness, I guess, like persuading them, like, look, I'm not like that anymore, or whatever. Don't look at me the way, like, I'm a different person now. Those things happen in my life like that.
Yeah. Well, see, like, man, like it be just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie. That man,
Does that bother you?
a lot.
I mean, it's the best way that I learned to find peace. See, the way that I found God to begin with is I just got to a point in my life where I was so low, man, that even now I still have this moment. Like we've had conversations about this before at work, but like I just got to a point in my life where I was like so low that I was like, what else do I have to lose? It's either I'm gonna end up right back in this situation, or I'm gonna learn something by pursuing him, And up to that point, there have been things that happened in my life that I'm like, that there, that's too coincidental, like to the point where it's like that has to be God.
See, and this is why, right? This is why, like, remember when I was telling you, right? How like I believe that everything is already written.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's some things that God still want us to put the work in for, right? But everything is written. Everything is already decreed for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now it's some things that God put in front of us, right? He give us the route to take, but it's up to us to put in the work to take that
Right,
route,
right.
right? So yeah, so like it'd be hard for us. It'd be really hard for us. Like, man, like that pressure and that
Yeah.
pressure and with that
Sure.
and that pressure be that be
I think I'm just tired of
shit
of that.
time.
Yeah, I know, and I mentioned that to you beforehand. It's like I'm just kind of tired. It seems like this is the first time that I've ever done something like this podcast. I've done a podcast before, but this is the first time in my life that I can remember doing something that it's not about me. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I enjoy this conversation. I love actually that we can finally get to sit down outside
Yeah.
of work and actually talk.
Yeah,
And I'd
because
be
we
like,
always
right,
busting it up. Yeah,
people, our supervisors telling us to get back to work or whatever. But this is the first time though that like I genuinely and authentically feel like this is not for me, and I genuinely feel like this is like at this very moment I feel the closest to God. I don't think about money. I don't think about my family. Of course, I think about my family, not in the form that I'm neglecting them. Meaning, like right now, it's just a conversation. Like it's a focus on God. Like I feel like God has allowed me, as you say, that I feel like everything's written already. It's already everything's in decree for us. Like you said, like we have. It's up to us to go down that route. And because I've started to go down that route over the years, and the things that I've learned from that, it wasn't a thing that I learned because of my ability to be able to learn, though that is obviously an aspect to it, but it's because God allowed me the opportunity to take those things and turn them into a positive. And this is the first time that I feel like my life story is coming through in a way that can relate with someone like yourself. I mean, we come from different lives, but we've experienced similar things, and that is something that I feel like a lot of the people watching and listening can relate to, because like, I mean, how long did you deal with all this stuff in silence? You know what I mean? How much,
right.
like these are the wars that people, there's a quote that I heard a long time ago that says hell is in the mind. And that really like resonated with me, because it's like,
Ooh,
yeah,
say
right?
that again.
Hell is in the mind.
That was deep.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is, bro. Like, we're born into sin. That's obviously the way that God put us. But it's like in this very moment, in this situation, like our mind controls how we view things, and then ultimately you can let your mind run rampant and be on autopilot and let it control your life, or you can try to find a way to take control of that, right? And there are many different ways to do that, but ultimately I believe that the best route for many people is, or for everyone, and sounds biased, but is the teachings of God. That's what I'm going to say, because I don't particularly mean any type of denomination or whatever. Just someone having a relationship with God has all like changed my life so much, to the point where it's like it's hard to believe how things played out. That
Right.
it's like that's like the way that certain things played out in my life is like, man, that's God. He has a hand in there. So to go back on what I was saying though, like this is like the first time that I've like done something that kind of feels like a lot of the stuff in my past don't matter, and they don't have to define me. It's just like, it's not about me. It's about who's sitting there and the value that they have learned from their life. That's why like I resonate so much with your story and your authenticity, because that's hard as hell to find, and to be that open and honest with everyone. But sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. You was just saying some heavy stuff though, right? Like when it come to beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
it's real. I feel like for some people, and because it was a battle. It was a battle for me, right? Like My religion in the beginning kind of like was like pushed on me,
Bro, oh, same.
right? Um,
That's actually what pushed me away from it.
exactly. Majority like
Mm-hmm.
my life, right? So it was like kind of like pushed on me a little bit. Um, and everything in life as a child, when you think about it, is pushed on you,
Right.
right? So that's another thing to go back to the previous conversation we was had. I didn't want to just put it on like um bad people on why what made me like hate the world. It was that included. That
Mm-hmm.
me talking about stuff just being pushed on me.
Right.
Like that's what had me like, man, I'm tired of this, and it was making me be rebellious.
You were forced to kind of be in a survival state at a very, very early
Right,
age.
right. So yeah, like I really never wanted to like pray. I really know I
It
wanted.
felt so automated too. Like it almost felt fake when you did it at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
So it's like the first thing people need to do is like learn themselves. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, believe in themselves a little bit, because
That's hard.
if you can't believe in yourself, like and have like and have that, then I think it'd be real hard to like actually believe in God,
It's even more of an uphill battle than anything if you don't believe in
because
yourself.
you question
Everything.
everything.
Mm-hmm. That's how I was. That's how I dealt with the trauma that I experienced in my life. I mean, of course, I had to deal with the post traumatic stress that came from it and stuff like that. But the biggest thing that has persisted, that has been constant in my life, is that lack of belief in myself. Because, and this is something that I'm starting to work through now, but it's like, because it was forced on me. So first of all, my biological father was never in my life. I remember from a very early age. I didn't know this then, but I know it now looking at it. When my mom, like, so I was born in Puerto Rico, and I lived there for about, God, I want to say 6 years, and then I moved to the United States, but with my
But
stepfather.
with your stuff, I was
Yeah.
about to ask you that. Who
So
did
my
that?
biological father was never really in my life that I could remember. I know that he was at some point, but I don't remember because I was just too young. But the parts that I do remember is when my mom would take me to go and see him and stuff like that. I would call him my uncle, and I'm sure that hurt him as well
Mm-hmm.
too. But regardless, so there was a part of me that kind of always had this void, just empty to begin with. But like I couldn't quite comprehend it, because it's like, especially being a father now, bro, I cannot fathom ever, never, like never being in my kid's life.
Right.
That, like, I can understand how that would make anyone feel. Like, your biological parents are supposed to love you unconditionally no matter what. You know, it doesn't mean that they may accept like your lifestyle, but love is unconditional. Love doesn't necessarily mean acceptance, you know?
I think that's what make us great fathers, bro. Look, I feel like that part that part of my life, right? That I wish like my father was one of the ones that like that I say like pushed my like kind of like was pushing my religion on me in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, which now me being older and understanding my religion, like
You see, he had your best interest in mind.
I know he did,
Right.
and I believe that cold heartedly. You know what I mean?
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I do wholeheartedly, right? Um, it's it's still a little bit like hard for me because I don't think he had to go that hard.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? But
There's a limit for sure.
yeah, but I feel like it's things like that that is making me a better father than what my father was.
Right. Because you learn
And,
a lot of what not to do.
right, and the times he wasn't around is what got me being around now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the love that you wanted from your father, you giving to your boy now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, so the first, that void was once filled by my stepfather, but he obviously took full advantage of that in his own selfish needs. So that then I think further kind of broke me in that aspect of like, what the hell is wrong with me, you know? And honestly, for years, Like I thought that what he had done, it was like, oh, I wanted that, as I enjoyed it, whatever.
Right.
But that's like, it wasn't until I started going to therapy and really breaking all the events of my life down and writing a timeline of everything. He's like, you can tell that he was grooming me from a very early age. And even saying stepfather, that the one that did that to me, that's real hesitant, because some of the people that watch and subscribe to my channel are his kids. And it's like, it's hard because they didn't do anything wrong to me, but also at the same time, like, imagine being in their shoes and thinking maybe that's,
Right.
but then I also wonder, it's like, maybe that's something that they've also experienced with, and they never say anything about, but that's a different conversation.
See, and that's one of the things that make you a caring person. Because see, you talking, because you right now what you're doing, right? You talking, right, and you talking about something that happened with you, right? And it's something that's serious, right? That had a major effect on your life. And you watching how you word what you say for someone else's feelings, which is a beautiful thing, right?
Right.
But you're not being selfish,
Right.
right? You're not being selfish.
I can be selfish in other ways.
But we speaking. I'm speaking on that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's probably why they is watching this. I mean, because they probably have been through that.
I hope to God not.
I'm just saying, and if they have, I mean, I think they need to speak with you, or they need to speak with somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
my stepfather went to prison and he got all that stuff. Yeah. But anyways, it was. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. That's one thing I'm trying to work on is accepting
just think
compliments.
about that though. That was like I don't like sometimes I don't think like you be noticing like some of the things.
I don't, because to go back on the belief thing about myself, logically, is like I know what I'm capable of. Right. Why? Because like you came to me and I gave you consultation. I know what I'm providing you will make you succeed because I've done it before.
Right.
Right. That's okay. I need that logical element when I'm consulting someone else because, well, it's not my life, it's theirs. So therefore I can view things objectively. Internally, when I take the same things and I try to apply it to myself, the emotional component isn't there. Meaning I can see what I'm capable of, and if I apply those things to myself, I know that I can achieve great success when it comes to this, whatever I set my mind to. But from an emotional standpoint, I don't believe in myself because I just considered myself to be such an average person. And I may be average in the way that I live my life, but because of the things that I've been through, that in itself doesn't make, and that doesn't make someone average. That's not a normal thing.
Right.
And then to handle it the way that I did, it's just the way that my mind comprehends certain things. It's like, well, in business, they call it your unfair advantage. That's kind of how best way I can describe it. I feel like that's my unfair advantage in the sense that I can use that to leverage my success.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because it's some things I ain't gonna lie. Like with me, like it's some things if I feel like I don't want to let it go because I got like some type of attachment to it, then you ain't gonna get it from me. And then in the same instance, if you was to have the same thing, then you would be like, all right, well, hey, I don't care about that.
I'm trying to get better at letting. The problem is because I've been on I was in a survival state for such a long time. You kind of view the world in black and white.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's not real life. Real life is very complicated. It's very gray. There's a lot of in between, and discerning, maneuvering through that gray can be very complicated. And in order to do so, most of us tend to digest things in a more black and white format. And see, for me, go ahead.
No, because that gray area, I feel like that gray area is like work. I feel like being at work is like that. Is
that gray area?
Yeah, I feel like for me, a part of my gray area right now, I feel like is work because like it's like everything else for me on how like I'm trying to operate my life now, and I have been, and it's been going right. Like I mean, like I still have real hard times, but it's going right for the most part, and I'm not I'm not as depressed. I'm not as stressed. Um. So yeah. So I wouldn't say that it ain't going. It's going super bad. But at work though, what I'm saying is like I really don't fully got control
Of what
of
happens.
of what happened, right? And see, with my life right now, I do everything that goes on, even for the most part at work. I can control most things there, right? But it ain't mine. Like it's like my cleaning company. It ain't my cleaning company, so I can't really navigate like.
Wait, your cleaning company isn't yours?
No, that is mine. I'm saying it ain't mine
work
as
is
in
like work
as
isn't.
yeah,
Gotcha.
right. So
Like, let me rephrase it just to make sure we're on the same page. You're saying that like your job, our job right now, isn't as you don't have as much control as you would your cleaning company.
exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yeah, so it's like yeah, with that yeah, because everything else outside of work, that's one thing that I don't mix up with like what my outside life is work. I don't do that, right? So it's like when I'm there, it's like I'm there.
That's it. Like you're all in, you're focused. And see, for me,
And and I don't got no control of it.
right.
That's hard, bro.
For me, that isn't hard because everything that my problem. I don't try to be a perfectionist. That's not in any way, shape, or form. But that is how what people view it as. And maybe they're seeing something that I'm not. The problem is that I know that there's a lot that I can control within that I have control of on how I do things. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Right.
And I guess I could be perceived as being a perfectionist. Right. And it doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing. Generally speaking, I'm trying to do the very best that I can at it. Right. And with work in general, not just a job, like to me, it's very black and white. It's either you do it or you don't. Like there's no in between. Right. But the downside to not having that being a gray area and allowing it to be gray is that, like, a better example of this, the restaurant, I used to work at a restaurant for like 7 years before then, right? And I ran their pizza area pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't have like an official title, but I was the person that trained everyone. Like, I was the go-to guy. Like, I ran, and we would get super freaking busy. But everything I did, man, I did it to the T. Like I would message our executive chef. I'm like, hey, how do you want this done? I would bypass all the managers because I want to get it straight from the horse's mouth. And then when they would come back to me, it's like, hey, why is this different? And it's like, well, because and the problem in the process of you trying to go through the chain of command, trying to get this answer, I already got it from that, from the horse's mouth. And then they're like, well, we don't want you to do it that way because we haven't gotten word. So then like a few days later, then they get word from the executive chef and they're like, oh, okay, I guess you can go back to doing that. And it got to a point where it's like I would do the right thing so much that I either followed all the rules or I didn't follow anything at all. I just didn't care. There was
you just went all the way.
I went all
Either
the
way.
way. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's also what makes me maybe a successful pizza person. I mean, everyone, like I had regulars that would come in and they would only order pizza when I was there and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's aside the point. Like that's how I view work. For me, the gray areas come maneuvering through the emotional elements of life. That's emotions in general are very gray, but the emotional areas is where I struggle the most with. I don't know how to. Everything just feels so wishy-washy, and I'm learning. Obviously, emotions are good to a certain point, but sometimes, like when you got a gut instinct, you know what I mean? Something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, by then you're already in a state of survival mode, right? Like something ain't right, so you're more alert, you're more aware, and you gotta get this gut feeling. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna follow it, right? I can't take that same approach when, like, right now, my life, generally speaking, is pretty damn good. I struggle so much maneuvering through the pretty damn good because it's like, okay, so what the hell is my next step?
Because it's not normal.
Right. And it's like, I don't know how to turn that into a normal thing. And that's why I was saying to go back into the beginning of this like what prompt this next section that we're talking about. That's why I love this. I don't need to think about what's next, what's not, because I'm just here in the moment.
Moment,
I'm
right?
not thinking about, like, the only thing that I'm keeping track of is seeing that timer right there on the camera, making sure that one, the camera stays on and that we don't fill it up. You know what I mean? But aside from that, like if I had someone running that, I would not even be thinking about that. It would just be more of this here,
Right.
because I'm a one man show right now and doing everything. That's the only reason. But aside from that, man, I'm not thinking about what I didn't do, what needs to be done. Like, I'm just so
Here.
here, and it's like that's what I said. It's like, this is why I feel like the closest to God.
See for me, like right now, like yesterday, right? I slowed down. Like I told you, like
Mm-hmm.
I would have been in Philly and I would have been on the highway early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bro, I actually went on a walk yesterday by myself. You see what I'm saying? Like
It's
it,
nice, isn't
and it
it?
was and it was a thing, and it felt nice outside last night. But I went on a walk and I just was thinking like, right? I'm thinking like how like my life really like did a 360, and it really wasn't that hard,
Yeah.
bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, and I still beat myself up, and that's why I really was taking the walk for real, because it was like I am one of those thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
I
Same.
mean, and it's like I'm trying to change that a little bit, like
Have
on
it
what,
more balanced.
yeah, and what I'm thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like I'm like, hold on now, because I didn't want it to turn. I didn't want it to turn into a thing of my thinking going to be negative, like because when I get into negative thinking,
It's
then
a
that's
it's a cycle, or it's a downward spiral from
yeah.
there.
Because now I'm more down. Now I'm getting more isolated, and right now I'm in a phase on when I'm really not trying to be that isolated anymore. I'm really trying to do like some things that I normally don't do.
Same. This is actually something similar for me. We'll get into that later,
Yeah.
though.
So yeah. So it's like I went on the walk, and then when I got home, I told you I went to bed early.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that walk helped me out, man. It helped me clear my mind a little bit, man.
That's funny enough. That's actually something that I'm realizing as well too. So normally, because of not having, so I come from also, on top of the sexual abuse, I also come from a very broken household. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, we had a roof over our head, we were taken care of, but there's some nights, man, we didn't have nothing to eat. You know what I mean? Like, we
Hmm.
struggled we were poor, but we didn't need to be. Just my stepfather appeared to be very selfish because I think he made really good money, but I don't know how my parents did the finances when that time when with that comes. But that's aside the point. Regardless, like, you know, I didn't really have stability in my life. And the only form of stability that I did have in my life was at one point, obviously, when I did have my stepfather and we moved out here to the United States and everything. And like, I I can remember to this day at a time in my life when I did feel stability and then it just got rocked, And I think what saved me, fortunately for me, is that God was working through my neighbors, which happened to be my wife's grandma, who lived 2 houses down from us, and their grandkids became my best friends. Like, I helped them move out here to to Pennsylvania, get their life started. I told them, I say, dude, listen, stay in our apartment. You don't gotta worry about rent. I was like, I want to help you get your life together. The only thing that I ask is that you respect the rules of my house and that you trust me when I'm telling you to do something, that I have your best interest in mind. They did that. Now they're like, once he's in a relationship. He was like antisocial before. He came out of his like shell. Started working somewhere, or he started working at Amazon, made friends, and then he ended up getting a girlfriend. That didn't work out. They broke up, but then he has a girlfriend now that he really likes. She has a kid. He loves the kid, like, and we've had conversation, him trying to be a better father as well too, because he didn't have a good father figure in his life. But nonetheless, like, he got him. So Julio's his name, and the other one's Nelson. Those are my two best friends. They're all cousins. They're all my wife's cousins. And ironically enough, they just became my family because my wife and I got together. But that's, I've known my wife for a long time. But regardless, like, I grew up in their house and I helped them get their lives together and stuff like that. Like, that's how close we are. Like, I trusted them in my space.
Right.
And the last time that I actually remember having stability was pretty much when I was a child growing up, before anything had ever happened. And I think what kept me kind of together was my wife's grandma. We call her Tita. But she, I would go over there like when we didn't have much to eat, and she like can tell she would give me food and she would feed me, and she'd talk to me about the gospel, but she wasn't really forcing it down on me. She would just kind of generally say statements. Versus in my house, I think that's also, which I didn't realize until now, probably why I have an issue with it, because it's like my stepfather would pretend to be a Christian, but it's like doing all these things that he's doing in the shadows. It's like, no, you're not. You are, that's blasphemy against the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. But anyways, so like that was like the only time that I remember having stability. And then it wasn't until I got my own place with my wife and everything that I felt stable again. And like I just like being in my own space. But I realized that it would, like you were saying, I'd get into a negative thought, and then I'd spiral, and then I'd feel depressed, and then I'd like, okay, I'll self cope with it. What used to be alcohol, because I had an alcohol addiction, but I replaced that with a pornography addiction, right? And then, so I would go to pornography, feel better, and I feel good for a second, and then I feel like shit afterwards, and it was just this perpetual, like never ending cycle.
Right.
And then, just this past weekend, actually, I was like, I need to get out the house, because we only have one car seat right now. My wife has it in her car. And my car is the one that I took here. I've been working on it little by little because it's way more fuel efficient. I drive an hour to work. So, but I haven't been able to go anywhere out with my wife and stuff like that, or my son on the weekends, because I watch him. That sounds weird. I'm with him all the time, but like my wife works, so I take care of him, obviously.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just sounds weird because it makes me feel like a distant parent, but it's like,
right.
No, I'm there all the time. It's just like
all the time.
Right. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So I ended up going for a walk as well too, and I noticed the exact same thing when I came back. I was like, man, I felt good. And like my son, he's just turned 1, so he can't really talk. He's not doing anything, and he's obviously can walk. But so we went on a walk together. He walked a little bit, then I carried him most of the way. But even though not much was said, I felt like I was bonding with him, bro. And it was such a reset, bro. It was such a reset. And I stopped and I realized, I was like, man, like this might be what I need to do to start interrupting that negative thinking cycle.
See, because it's like you trying to take care. For me, it's like I'm always trying to take care of situations in my head.
Same.
Like before, like they even happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm always thinking about could this be like this, or like I could do it this way, or man, I don't want to do that. I know they're gonna judge me on this. Like it's just a bunch of different things. Or should I did that?
Yeah, right.
Like I mean,
you're constantly analyzing in your head.
Yeah, all the time, all the time.
And that's a beautiful thing, but everything in moderation.
Yeah, for
and
sure. I think the moderation is
my issue. That's
my
issue.
Is what get me.
I've learned. I can't say that moderation is something that I'm working on, but I've been able to use specific tools to help the moderation. One of the things that I just started doing is I started writing my life on a schedule. The military has always intrigued me. I went through the whole entire army route and everything, and unfortunately it didn't go and pan out as far as I would have liked it to, but that's aside from the point. And there are many reasons why it interests me, but probably the main thing that I realize is that it is almost forced stability in terms of the schedule. At least when you go to base training, everything, everything's like you're going to do everything at a certain time frame, and someone does that for you. So I was talking to my therapist, and I realized that. So I started scheduling my life again on a schedule, but this time I did it with a military type structure, and that's been helping me keep things in track. Because with my right now, this podcast, the episode beforehand, I would just immediately the day afterwards. I filmed it on Monday or Tuesday. I was like, all right, I gotta sit here, I gotta edit this, I gotta get it out, And so I'm like, whoa, you gotta stop, bro.
Yeah.
And what I started doing? I started breaking it down. I was like, we'll do 2 hours here, an hour there, and I was like, let me take my time doing this and put thought into it, because I'm guessing maybe just people like us, we just jump the gun. You know what I mean? We like to go. We like to hit the ground running and just not stop. And it's that's a good thing when the situation calls for it. But most of the time it's okay, so how do we slow down? So I started scheduling things, and even then it's okay, well, you schedule everything. It's okay, how do you know you're going to follow through with it? And the only reason I think that the source of why any of us do anything that we do in life is because whatever the reason that we're doing it for is strong enough to carry us through the things that we don't have strength to carry us through, right? And So I guess to elaborate a little bit more on that, I love my wife, love my
Mm-hmm.
kid, I love my family. I hope to God that we get blessed with the opportunity to be able to have more kids, right? But at the same time, like as much as I love my wife, as much as I love my family, as much as I love the people around me, I've always felt this destabilization internal. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm using it internally.
What you're saying, like you, you lost me a little bit. You saying
Okay,
like you always felt like
like
this is from like the world. Is what you're saying?
a little bit of both, like the world and in myself. Like
So
kind of like
okay,
I was
okay.
saying beforehand, it's like everything from the outside looks
Like
great, but
everyone, including yourself. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Like even though like everything from the outside looks great, and like I know there are people in my life currently that would love to be in the situation that I'm in, both financially, with home and everything. Like a lot of people would love to be in that situation, but I've always just kind of felt like regardless of those things that I know that I have in my life from internally, I've just always felt like I'm not, like I'm falling behind. I'm not doing enough.
Mm.
I could be doing better. I can, you know what I mean? All these negative emotions, right?
Right.
And like I kind of lost where I was going with that.
Nah, I'm gonna pick it up though. I feel the exact way, and I can say like right now, that's one of the reasons why I went on the walk. Is like I don't have nothing bad going on in my life. Nothing that I can say
Same,
that's super bad, right?
right?
Um,
God willing, fortunately.
fortunately, right? Um, but it's like the more that like positive things is happening to me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the more I'm becoming alone.
Right,
I'm not gonna lie. It's like
bro.
the
You know,
more I'm becoming alone,
like you
and
feel alone in the presence of people that normally make you feel something as well too.
right,
Yeah.
and it's like, and I think, and what I'm like, how I'm starting to feel like, right, is like that's only because like the people that did make me feel like that filled that void, right, don't understand my vision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really like, and I'm really like, that's really like really starting to become a belief to me. Like
Yeah.
it ain't me and what I'm doing, because what I'm doing
It's pretty positive.
is pot and is bringing and is like elevating me,
Right.
right? So I'm not doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing wrong at all. So yeah, that's why I'm
I
starting to
think
believe that.
that's see for me, I feel the same way. Except my issue is I constantly feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I don't know if that may have to do with the people in my life who I surround myself with, my friend group, whatever the case may be. But like, there are some people that just view this as a waste of time, right, and a waste of money, and it's like that hurts me because it's like it's almost the best way that I can describe it is like imagine having this thing that you're so excited for to build, and you go to your dad excited, and he thinking he'd be
They don't believe you. It's a lack
yeah
of belief. Like
yeah
they have a lack of belief in you and
yeah
something that you
yeah
believe so much in.
yeah, and that hurts.
It do.
That hurts a lot. You know what I mean? Because it's like, again, I know what I'm capable of, but I get stuck on the emotional component. Like I get stuck there. It's like maybe I am like that. Maybe I'm a piece of crap. Like I had to file for bankruptcy. I lost everything. I had a business. The business failed. I got sued. All these things that I go through, you know, they hurt. They hurt.
You want to know something, right? I didn't like go through it in them steps that you did, right? But some like yeah, somewhat like I lost it. I lost it all.
Yeah.
I
Well,
lost it
yeah.
all when I went to federal prison. I mean like I still had some of my things, but
See, but that's also another thing that I think about. Not to interrupt you, but it's like, then I don't mean this in like a negative way at all, but the best way I can describe this is that I look at my life and what I've been through and then what you've actually been through. And it's like, no, that's losing it all. You didn't lose nothing. Like you could have been in his shoes. So why you have no excuse to feel as crappy as you do?
see though, and this is the thing. This is the thing. All right, when I try to tell like one of my best friends, right, is that anything that he go through, like, and I'm gonna use the word victim. I really don't like. He's not my friend, not a victim, but like that. he is a victim on, like if somebody do something bad or like to him, or
Mm-hmm.
like if
Like you get screwed over, for lack of better words.
he gets screwed over, is he always justify something for the other party. And I really don't know why he do that. But he always, and I be trying to tell him like bro, like you can't keep doing that.
That's
Like
funny.
because
Not enough funny, but I do the same
yeah,
actually.
it's kind of like I feel like over time it's like people was just going like it's kind of like walk over him because he's always giving them an excuse for what they doing when what they doing to him.
That's actually really applicable in my life right now because that's kind of how I feel. Like I get walked all over a lot, but then it becomes an issue. Like, so I live
Do you feel like you get walked on over because you're trying to please other people?
because I'm trying to keep the peace. Now, from my perspective, is I feel like I'm getting walked all over because I'm trying to keep the peace. But I believe that the other parties involved, the reason why I feel like I get walked all over is because they don't think that I'll ever amount to anything. And they've told me, well, it's just my in-laws. Like we've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
Like when my wife and I first started dating, like, you know, I've known them my entire life. Like I said, I know my wife my entire life, and it really hurt a lot of the stuff that we went through. Like, you know, they called me like I was being controlling, manipulative, and you know, they've kicked her out and told her that I'm just gonna be a college dropout, like
Yeah.
all
All right.
these things.
Now, see, this is the thing, and I'm gonna say it again on here, right? That where I tell you, like, you don't do nothing but just show them. You can't allow what they think, feel, or say control your everyday.
Right.
Like you can't do that. Or a
But the
moment.
thing
You can't
is,
even let that control a moment, bro.
right.
Like you can't let that. You can't. And they might be great people, but you can't let them.
That's the thing. They have great intentions. They really do.
Right.
But it's
And
just,
on top of that, you got to with parents.
yeah. I mean,
With,
it's
with parents. Come on, man. Like you supposed to be. Like most parents, they want nothing but the best for their child, and what their child and what their daughter know,
right.
and what their daughter love and care about. They never get to meet that of you.
Right.
They never got to meet that.
Well, they have.
No, they didn't. They didn't. The way your wife know you, her parents don't know you. They do. They know
That's,
a part. They know a part of you,
that's
but
true.
they don't know you.
That's true.
So they don't know. They don't know your passion as much as she do
No.
because they not around you like she is.
Well, we live together, so yeah.
Yeah,
But oh, I see what you mean.
They not.
I see what you mean. Like it's a much more intimate setting. Like I could be more raw, more unfiltered
Right.
with my wife. Not that I can't with them, but
Right.
it's like it's usually not.
So with them, how you fix that is you show them.
I think that that's where I struggle with, right? Because, all right, so to just keep it blunt, like from a financial standpoint, like my wife and I, we making what we need. We making sure we taking care of our kid. Like we make sure we're good. But what her and I sat down and we realized, like look, is there an opportunity for us to make sacrifice and make more money? Absolutely. But she don't care about money the same way that I don't care about money. That money's just not worth losing the precious time that we have with our kid. That's why she went back to work. I went back to work, so we make the money that I need to. Can we make more money? Yeah. But it just seems like I got to put everything on hold to then make that money. And we kind of talked about this about work.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what if that's the stepping stone? And it's like, that could be the stepping stone, but how do I know that's a stepping stone? Or how do I know that the format that I'm doing now is a stepping stone, meaning working part-time and making pretty good money? And then with my wife's income combined, like we making more than enough, right? And then do this on the side and take my time doing that. Because like now, to me, what matters is that God maintains in the center of everything. And this feels like the only way that I can continue to keep putting God in the center of this world, in the center of our world, in the center of our family. You know, not to the sense where I want to force it down, you know, my kids throat. I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? I'm going to, my goal, how I'm going to pass on the teachings of God to my son is by being an example, a good enough example that he can sit and look at us and be damn proud of us. He's like, I want to be that because I choose to be that, because I like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how we're gonna go about it. But regardless, like that's what I care about. I mean, like, you know, I've told you before what happened with my wife. Obviously, this is well before we got
Yeah.
married. You know, like
Now, let me go to this real quick though. So I'm saying like because this is it got to be something that's like really like affecting like it's discombobulated something in your world is what your wife's parents is like not believing in you as much as you want them to. That's affecting you.
I think it's just that I'm letting them. I tell this to people, and I think this is the same situation. There's a lot of people in your life that are not going to believe your vision because the vision that was given to you was not given to them. It's not their life.
Right.
That's the thing that, and I think that that bothers me because I can share that with my wife, and she's like, no, like I got you. Like I believe. Like like you know when someone, like there are just some people that when you tell them they're kind of like no you know what I believe that you're capable, but there are some people who they'll tell you the exact same words as someone else did, but there's a different feeling from it,
A completely different feeling.
like
And
it's
and this is what I'm saying. And this is why for me and it's kind of like working for me a little bit is I know that majority of the people that's in my life and and with other things like I had the support of, right? But I never really feel like they actually see my vision. Like or like and where I'm going and like it's like now like I'm really not worried about that. And if you don't see it, I'm going to continue down this path and I'm going on my vision. And if you still there, like while I'm going to this, and it don't matter what it is, it don't have to be. It don't have to be like a major goal. It could be whatever. But I'm sticking. This is what I'm sticking to. This is what I have to stick to. Because if I don't and I veer off, a lot of things start happening
yeah.
that you don't got the answer for.
There's a verse in the Bible. It's one of my favorite Bibles. It's called, I think it's called the Golden Gates or the Golden Rule, one of the two. And obviously, it's different depending worded differently depending on what version you're reading. But it goes similar to walk through the narrow gates, for the gates to life is wide, and the road that leads to it is easy. And there, for the gates to hell is wide, and the road that leads to it is easy. And there are many people who walk it. For the gates to life is narrow, and the path is difficult, and there are very few who find it. And I think that's like the most applicable thing in this situation because it's like you're right, it ain't gonna be easy, but it's not meant to be easy.
Right. So yeah, so it's kind of like with that like and people not
How do
seeing
you like mechanistically though in your mind shift that? Like, okay, so it's one thing we acknowledge that advice that you're right that some people are not gonna see your vision, but you're
right.
capable. But how do you consciously make that shift to overwrite the current system, for lack of better words, operating system of your body or your mind is running? You know, like meaning that at some point clearly you've had some. Actually, have you ever had some real like negative self-talk where you didn't even believe in yourself, and then it got to a point where you did believe in yourself, or are you still struggling with that belief within yourself and your capabilities?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, what word? Listen, majority of my life, out of prison and in prison, right? I literally never like worked it for anyone.
Really? Boy,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So it was like, I mean, like I had like I did. Well, I can't say I never worked for nobody. I worked, but it never was like
You have a scheduled time to come in.
yeah,
read,
it never
it
was.
wasn't.
Yeah, no, I did. Like I'm saying, like I had one little summer job I was on like probate. This was before like I went to jail. Like a little right before I went to jail. Like I had that little summer little gig or whatever. Like I did like I helped like older guys or like that had like little businesses and stuff like that, little lamp.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying like I never really like held the job for a long amount of time or and stuff like that. So it was like that right there was a struggle in itself with me really not. I'm like, man, I can't do this. And then on top of my record, on top of like how they gonna view me like from a piece of paper and I'm really not knowing me. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I struggle with right there.
Right.
I mean, but you know,
It's almost like you feel like you're just gonna be judgeable before you even they get to
Yeah,
know you. Yeah, so
yeah.
it
I
would be
mean,
the same thing.
let's see. So yeah, exactly. So that's why like
I
it's
don't
like
show this part to my in-laws,
yeah.
and I wish I could, but I just don't feel like I can, and it's mainly to do with the fact that like this isn't particularly to my in-laws. I just think that this is a thing with generally older people and a generation before us. Usually when they're kind of set in their ways, they're set in their ways. You know, you can have conversations about certain things, but there's a lot of filters that I don't.
I mean, you can, but I do think that even when people set in their ways, when they have common sense,
They do. They
and
definitely do.
right, this is what I'm saying. When they got common sense, and they do have a heart, right, and they do know that the person that they talking with them, like they both got something in common, which is they love like they daughter dearly
Mm-hmm.
just as much as like you love her.
Oh yeah.
So like I feel like even if it don't get where you want it, or and you don't get where they want you. That
That doesn't.
if you would, I think if you would though, I think that like they would have some type of they would have more understanding of where you going, where your marriage is going, because believe it,
Yeah.
they want parents. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We want the best for our children.
Mm-hmm.
Good parents want the best for their children. So, but also you really do gotta let them know like
I want to show them. That's the thing. I want to get to a point where, like exactly like you're saying, like I think that the internet world and making money in the internet world in general, it's very complicated to understand
right.
from a traditional standpoint. It really is. I mean, hell, I was in my mid 20s when I first understood it, and I was like, whoa, you can make money playing video games? Like, explain that to me, you know, until I
Right.
went out and pursued it. So it's like they don't doubt that you can make the money, but it's like at the same time, there is a difficult learning curve.
So well, yeah. So what? Oh, is her parents like not up to date with technology and what's going like?
They're technically, I don't want
Or
to.
is they with like the bare minimum?
The bare minimum.
Alright.
Yeah, but they're open to learning things. But
That's how
it's
my
like,
mom is.
Yeah, so it's probably the same way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's like, you know, what I'm trying to, I want to show them that because it's like I know that I'm capable of providing this. It's like I just need some people. Like it's gonna be crappy for a while, and I know that it's gonna suck, and then it's gonna make me feel like crap because it's like. From a financial standpoint, I want to have all the money in the world that I possibly can to be able to give my kid whatever they want. But right now, it's the cheapest that they're going to get, for lack of better words. You know what I mean? Because they're.
I mean, what I call it right is sacrifice, and it's not a bad sacrifice.
I don't think so either, bro. I don't think so.
Like
But it's
right,
like, how do I get like that's the issue. It's like, how do I get a traditional mindset? And I'm not just talking about their parents to see that, because they're like, you know, you should work a job and like you.
I mean, most handymen. You think most handymen when they went and did their first job, they had every tool that you ever need to be a handyman?
That's true. Well, that's true. It's just that's my probably like my current obstacle.
You know what I'm saying?
You know?
Do you think? I'm gonna give you another one. Do you really think that like, have you ever been to like an older person like house, right, and go in their garage and you see like all their tools and stuff like that? Do you think that they got them tools in 1 year, 2 years? Like, and I'm talking about they been living in their house for 20 plus.
Yeah, and they've
You see
been
what I'm
getting
saying?
yeah. It's a
Like-
process. It is.
That's what it is.
I guess it's just like, but then I also view it, and I just discovered this last night. I was reading, I'm learning about Job in the Bible, and one of the verses that I forget what chapter it is, but I think it's chapter 32 through 34, and the way that essentially one of the things that I realized last night is, I think that I believe things well, and I'm good. My issue is I get on the internet, right? And the internet itself is not, like, inherently it's not bad. And even the people that I learn from isn't bad. But the problem is there's a million different ways to be able to build a successful podcast. And there's a million different directions. And sometimes I'm like, oh, so he did it this way. Clearly that's what I'm lacking. I should do that. And then I start to let's say I learned something from the Bible that really impacted my life, right at that current moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now I start pushing that to the back and applying what this individual that I just learned on the internet is saying. And it's like I'm never allow myself to do anything consistently enough to actually produce longevity in my business or in my life, just in my life in general.
I think that is because it's not. It's more of a thing like this is what he doing and this is what got him success, right? Rather than this is what I've been doing and it been flowing for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm so tired of struggling, bro.
Yeah, but when but you gotta remember though when it's flowing, it's flowing for you. You know, just because
It
the
looks
next
different.
person, yeah, and they're successful then, and they saying that's what got them the success. Don't mean that that's what it is for you.
Right.
Actually, that could be a thing that like
does the opposite.
Complete opposite.
Right. And that's what I need to really accept, you know, because a journey to success looks a million different ways. You know what I mean? And I think again, and as I'm talking about these things, normally, like in previous podcasts that I've done, I used to do it like I had a co-host, right, which was actually Nelson, my wife's cousin, whom I helped bring up here. But I streamed it live, and sometimes like I would have it. Okay, how can I shift this in a way that would get the most engagement, whatever, to try to maximize for money, because it's like money was kind of controlling my life in the sense that it's like I don't care for money because I wish it wasn't a thing, but it is a thing.
For sure.
And it's like finding that balance is an issue for me. But this right now, doing it in this particular format, bro, it's taken me 2.5 years to discover that this is the format I want to do it and how I want to do it. But even though I'm talking about all these things, I'm not trying to manipulate the conversation anyway. I'm just doing it because this is something I'll be talking to you off camera.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's natural.
Natural. Right.
Right.
But see, though, and that's what I feel like is a beautiful thing, though. That's like, and I feel like that's going to be it, because that's what like most people want. They want natural. No, they don't want nothing mixed in it. Like, I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I think the world is filled too much with like false prophets and people that.
Yeah, so stuff being
fake.
A lot of water putting on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I think that we're at a point in life where people just want like raw and honest conversations. I think it's one of the many reasons why. I don't know if you know who Joe Rogan is, but his podcast has become so successful. He brings on so many controversial people, but has a very unfiltered conversation and isn't scared to ask the hard questions because he's genuinely curious. He's not doing it for the perspective of other people. He's genuinely curious. He wants to know what the truth is.
I'm not gonna lie. That guy got something that I don't got. You hear him? I'm really not. Well, I'm getting great at it, but like, with things that I really don't care as much about as like others, I really don't tend to ask questions.
Really?
Right? Yeah, for real. But I realized like actually like working at a job and having a business and stuff like that, like, and like really like, you know, meeting new people. Like
you have to.
It's
part of networking.
Like, yeah, that's like a thing. And it's kind of like fun a little bit. I mean, because it's like dang. Like that's what I was missing out on. And I know what I know now, right? If then I would have been a guy that did ask questions.
Oh, you'd be a completely different person. Your life would have probably never even gone in the same route.
Oh my, what?
Dude, I have always been such a curious person. I don't know where it comes from, but I love that God gave me the curiosity because I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, but see, for me, growing up, like, in poverty in the hood and stuff like that. Like
what kind of question? Who you gonna ask questions?
Yeah, it ain't that. I was really taught like, man, I ain't asking no questions. Like, I'm not asking you your whole name. You tell me your name. If you say your name is D, I know your mom didn't give you the name D, but that's the name you gave me. I'm not asking you, no, what's your real name?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like things like that. Like, I'm not asking you, well, yo, like, how you know where my house at? Like, I'm just like, all right, you pulled up. What's up, bro? Like, it was just like, a thing that you didn't do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
See, and maybe that's the I don't necessarily know where it came from, the curiosity element for me, but I do know some of the people in my life that, you know, are still in my life, but they, as I grew up, played a huge role in fostering more curiosity. And like one of my best friends also happens to be my wife's cousin. His name is Hector. He tremendous individual. So like he's freaking smart. And you know, we grew up all together, and like he taught himself how to code. He taught himself how to make games. He made games from scratch. He created a Pokemon simulator himself and everything. Like all while he was in high school. He was just like, he was one of those people that just like
Smart
knew
dude.
what he liked to do, and like found a way to get it done. And you know, like now he works for Rockstar Gaming. You know, they made GTA and stuff like that, and he's very successful. And I'm so happy for him. But he is one of those people that I was fortunate enough to, like, he was just so ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, you know, like he just, for him, when I would ask him a question, he gave me an answer. Now I don't know if for him, like what from a psychological standpoint caused him to be like that, if there were ever anything like that. Maybe he was just born with the ability to be able to do that. Some people
Yeah.
are, you know, but for him, bro, like how we speak English, that's how he sees math. He's just that good. He's that good with it, man. He's great with it.
Yeah.
And like now for me, like taking all that into consideration, I realized that like I made a promise to myself. I was like, man, you're gonna continue to foster this yourself, because you can't keep relying on other people for that curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you become a father, whenever that time comes down the road, it's like, and your son asks you a question, you want to have the answer, or if not, you want to be able to help them find the answer. And you know, and like that requires some level of critical thinking and evaluation, and that natural curiosity has just always carried with me. And now in my adult years, like, I mean, that's how we started this conversation, you know what I mean? Like, or not this conversation, but you know, how we got to this podcast. It's
Yeah.
like, I just ask people questions. I care. I want to, I want to know, because so many, if people are similar to the way that I've dealt with my life, with things in my life from a psychological perspective, and even if our lives don't look the same, like if I'm this curious and I consider myself to be an average person, I was like, imagine the plethora of information that other people might have.
See that, and that's what's crazy, right? Because this go back to like me within like when I was in federal prison will make me like that, like all became a part of my changing point, is because like another major thing that I know, I don't care what walk of life you took, we all got something in common.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all
Mm-hmm.
have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I mean that, like
Oh,
with
wholeheartedly.
through our walks of life.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go
Even
there,
if it's the way, like, even if like you and I, we've been through different lives, but the way we've perceived a lot of the things that we've been through have been similar.
exactly. So for me is like with me with that is what make me give everybody respect. See, it's like a pattern
Mm-hmm.
for me. Like it's like a pattern. That's what I walk and do now. Like even with like me being stuck on certain beliefs, right? That was wrong and that wasn't normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm changing that, and I give everyone respect, right? Because I know, again, that we all got something in common.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
no, I don't care. I don't care what you is, what you believe
And
in.
that's hard for people to accept too, because it's like you'll say that to someone that takes everything for face value without really thinking about it, and they'll be like, no, there's no way. I'm not similar to this person that killed someone. We're not even the same person. It's like, I guarantee you can find something.
Yeah,
I can promise you find
if
something.
you sat down, listen, I became a certified peer support specialist when I was
Oh, what is it?
a certified peer support specialist.
What is it? Peer support specialist?
Yes.
Okay, so is it like a support group? You kind of help other people through things?
Yeah, it's like they're most people know them to like they'll say like a counselor, but it is completely opposite from a counselor, a peer support specialist. See, a counselor like guide you. And what I mean by guide you, like most counseling, like they tell you, well, do this. A peer support specialist is more so like of a thing of helping you help yourself. Meaning like say for instance, like I mean, a lot of times, like with things like I
Is it
just like
similar to like a sponsor, like in like like Alcoholic Anonymous?
I don't know I don't know
Oh,
what they
okay,
sponsor. Yeah, I don't know
never
their
mind.
components. But mainly what you do is like what we do is the person that you pair it with, right? Is more of a thing you there for them,
Mm-hmm.
and any problem or situation that they facing, you help them come up with how to fix it, rather than it be a thing of me telling you what to do. Like, well, you
I
should
mean,
do
like,
this.
right. It's similar though to counseling though. I think.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Yeah,
That's why I
yeah,
used the word. That's why, because
yeah,
most people would know them like to be like, oh, you talking about like a counselor, but no, counselors like,
yeah.
and the counselor would tell you like a counselor, like a real counselor that have open. That's what they're like. That's what they kind of like
That's
do.
awesome though.
Yeah. So like when I was in jail though, this is where I got. It was a thing. Like I think like the jail that I was at SEI Pine Grove at the time. That was like the second or third jail that like they was letting people get certified and doing that or whatever. The actual it was a I got Rob. It was a psychologist I think that had told me about it, and he was like, yeah man, I think you should look into that, and he gave me like a little packet when it came, and I did it. So now they got me going down to the hole.
Oh.
Right, they got now because once you become certified, it was a couple weeks. You get certified. So now I'm going down to the hole because remember I used to be a prop when I first went to state jail. I still was a teenager. I still was thinking that I need to make a name for myself.
Right.
I'm around grown men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, that's in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Like I'm around men, and I'm only 16, 17. Like I was always in the hole. I was always in trouble. I was always disrespecting people. I mean, I still was in that. Even after I got my time, like I
Mm-hmm.
still was like that for a second. But anyway, I became when I had did that, I still was going through it. Then I really was pushing myself through that. Like I'm gonna just get certified in this. You know, had this on my jacket. They're gonna see that I'm a peer support
Right,
specialist,
right.
right?
Almost like bragging rights for like a better word or something. Like,
Yeah, but while I was in there or whatever, like I was listening, and man, I was doing the work, right? But anyway, though, like I started doing, then that's when I start falling back. I stopped getting in trouble like that or whatever because I start realizing that I liked it.
right, right.
I'm like, man, I really I like to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to see people happy. Now me learning something like this about myself in prison, like was like
What the hell is this?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was difficult, but now like I realize that like that's what I do. Like I enjoy like to see people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, like, that's what
Same.
make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Same.
So it was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. So now I had the option. I could have came just used it when I came home, or I was able to get a job and being a peer support specialist in the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that.
Oh,
Now,
really? Nice.
yeah, I did that. So now, but, and them knowing that like I used to like get in trouble. Now they wanting me to go see like the dudes that like that's really like trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like now I'm going to go see them, and there was some people that really did have.
Oh, they wanted you to be like an example because you yourself are also a problem.
Yeah, but so now like I'm really going to I'm going to go see them. I'm really going down to the hole. Like when somebody like is having like mental health problems and stuff like that, like I'm really going down there to go talk to them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there was just one dude like that didn't want to take showers. And like he used to play, literally, man. I'm keeping it raw, bro. He used to play with his shit. He used to wipe his shit on the wall and stuff like that. Yeah, like, and then it was some COs that really like used to like mess with him and get him started. You see what I'm saying?
They
used
would
to like
provoke him.
Yeah, they would provoke him. They would provoke it, and it was like he really didn't know no better because he really like it
He was struggling.
He wasn't and he wasn't acting right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was about to go home. It was like, and He really was an okay dude, but then nobody want to listen to him. Then nobody like he didn't have nobody. You see what I'm saying? And just
Dude, that in itself, just having someone that is, even if you don't say anything, just
so listen. So now at first for me, I was pissed. Do you know what that? You know what that was like? And now, mind you, I've been in the hole with this dude before. Like I've been down there on the same block that we was in. I've been, so I know he would had the whole block stinking. He used to shoot pee out through his toothpaste out on the like he used to throw his shit. So it's like I'm like, yo, the first person y'all want me to come down here is him.
right.
He disrespected me before. Like, he get on the gate, bang, he'll keep you up all night. Bro, but the whole time, man, he didn't have nobody. The whole time he ain't had nobody. The whole time, this same dude, right?
That breaks my fucking heart, bro.
Yeah, listen, and it did with me, and it was crazy, and this was so crazy. It's so crazy because this same dude, and I'm talking about he would disrespect anybody. He had the kindest heart, man. Bro, listen. So at first, I really was like pissed off that I'm like, man, I ain't doing this. So the CEOs, they laughing at me, right? Because to go down there, and this is another thing, like we're taking that, like I had to get strip searched going down there, like
Oh, every time.
every time. Like I had to get strip searched going down there, but they'll let me, like I didn't have to get. Man, did I? I think I did. I think I got strip searched going down and coming back. But I say that right to say that like it's like I'm going through all this fucking shit for this fucking man. Fuck that, right? CEOs laughing at me. Niggas like, Lil, hey, what you trying to say, people now, bro? You better than everybody. You think you better than people?
Bro,
I got all
hate
that, right? So it's all this going on, right?
That I'm just want to hold that. That right there is probably the most toxic trait that this world currently has.
Yes, I agree.
And it's like,
I agree.
Like, let someone be a better version of themselves. They're gonna change. They're gonna, like, it's okay to change. Like, there's things that you can go back in my channel that I can probably, like, in my main channel, that you can see from older videos to newer videos, and I might contradict myself, but that's okay. It's not because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's because maybe I believed that at one point, but I changed it. And
Right.
it's like, it's not that I'm better than anyone. I don't think I'm above anyone.
You evolving and you growing.
Right.
Your mind is growing.
Right.
Right. So look, let me get back to this because this was like one of the key things.
No, yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
That made me like realize like yo, like he just really going through something, and this is the way that he's letting it out. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I used to shut the fuck up, bro. I'm trying to sleep. You know what I mean? Man, if I catch you, nigga, I'm gonna knock you out. Yeah, excuse my language, but that's where like that's how it was at first, and now I'm at his door, right? You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, come holler at me real quick. Now I'm taking the risk of him squeezing some pee through a little hole at me because he thinking that I'm on some BS with him. I'm like, yo, no, look. So I show him the John Center. I'm like, look, bro, I ain't on nothing, bro. I'm like, look, if you tell me to roll out, I'm gonna go on here and roll out. But for real, I want to make what you got going on in here, and I point it inside the cell comfortable and the best for you, bro. That's all I want. I'm like, bro, that's all I'm down here to do. That's it. Other than that, if you tell me to roll out, I'm out. I mean, he was like, no, what's up? Now, mind you, he was older than me too. I mean, so you know, we start talking whatever. He was like, no, I told him that I'm cool, this and the third. So I'm talking to him. So now, mind you, I'm at his door. Now, mind you, bro, I'm at this door. I want you to understand, bro. It smells so bad at this door. Cause now, mind you, like they let him went, like they'll take him out of cell when they do that, and they got like in jail, like they got like a crew that come clean up blood, that clean up feces and all that. And they like first they'll leave him in there for a long ass time, but like then they had to pull him out and get somebody to go in. But they don't clean it real good. They ain't cleaning his door, the side of his door where they gotta put his tray in that. Like they really not, they leaving that like that because, oh, you threw this shit with it. Yeah, y'all don't gotta clean that up. Y'all don't gotta clean that slot up like that. He need to clean. That's his. He did that. You see what I'm saying? So it stunk real bad. So anyway, so I'm talking to him. Mind you, he didn't take showers. He didn't walk to the shower. Like he didn't want to go to the shower because when you go in the hole, the only thing you got supposed to have on is just your towel, your shower shoes, and that's it. Your rag in your hand and your soap and your drawers, right? So he ain't do that. So I'm like, boom. So He asked me when I'm leaving. I'm like, all right, the CO come on the intercom, which he ain't have to do because they're supposed to do rounds every 15 minutes, come around or whatever. Now mind you, I'm on the door, and he really ain't getting personal with me because like I'm speaking through a crack of a door.
Right.
So when I'm like, all right, man, I'm out, man. You be cool, whatever. I just kept it real simple. Wherever he wanted to go, that's where I let it go.
You let him control it.
Yeah. Then he said, yo, you gonna come? You coming back tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. If you want me to come back tomorrow, all you gotta do is tell him. He's like, yo, I'm telling you, yeah, come back tomorrow. I'm like, all right. Boom. As soon as I went back, I had to hurry up back because I had it was a list of like
People
dudes that I had to go see.
Right.
Like, so like I had access to different blocks and stuff like that. So I'm like, damn, I gotta hurry up back real quick. Because it was a psychologist that I think that was like my supervisor there that was like control of
Right.
I think it was.
Like he oversaw the program.
Yeah. So but I had to hurry up and get back. So I to go holler at him, let him know, like, yo, I gotta go back down there. He want to see me because if he wasn't on my paper for me to see, I wouldn't have been able to go back down there. So I did that, and he was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. This and the third. He was like, how was he? I'm like, man, he was all right. So, I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that was some fucked up shit. This is how I talked it then. I'm like, bro, that was some fucked up shit. You did that to me, man. You gonna send me down there. I'm like, what, you don't want me to do this? If you don't want me, and that's how I used to think. If you don't want me to do this, if you don't want me here, if you don't want me to, like, I could go back down to the electric shop. I ain't had to, so I'm getting, now mind you, it was like a little bit, he was like, no, he's like, I knew you could get through him. Like, I'm not gonna do nothing. Like, he believed in me more. That
right,
dude. I'm not gonna lie. He definitely did. He did. But anyway, though,
that's awesome.
So I went back down there, and I'm like, bro, yo, why you keep doing this? I'm like, bro, I know you don't want to sleep like that, bro. I know that's uncomfortable. He like, man, they're gonna leave me alone. That's what they're gonna leave me alone. That was his thing. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's up, bro? I'm like, how you gonna fix this? You gonna just keep going through this your whole job? Like, you been on population before,
right?
I mean, you know what you're missing out on. Like, I mean, and this was the thing. He could have been went home. He turned down parole.
Did he?
Yeah, he turned down. But and after a while, like for a person not to know him, understand him, you'll think like, man, this nigga dumb. Like, why you don't want to be free?
Right.
Until I got to know him, bro, he didn't have nothing. He didn't have nobody. That was another thing that made me stop judging people. I stopped judging people. I'm not gonna lie. I can't judge nobody off their situation, bro. I can't. That man didn't have nothing, and then on top of that, like you gotta deal with inmates and COs, or like, and he had real mental health problems. He really did.
That makes me like.
Yeah, it was heavy, but the thing is though, like over time with me going down there with him, like I'm not gonna lie, I made a friend, bro. That I'm not going to... And he started saying... And he was smart. That was a whole nother thing. Bro, he was telling me about credit. Bro, at that time, I didn't know nothing about credit or nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, bro,
He knew what he...
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you for sharing with that.
Yeah, he was a good dude, man. Bill was a good dude, man. And he was a real smart. When it came to that, he be talking about that. Then he was saying like how like when he was locked up for like a meth lab or something like that or whatever, and whatever. Like, I don't know which true or not or nothing like that, right? But he had a nicer piece of property, whatever. Like how he give it to me, because I ended up seeing pictures. That's what I'm saying. He really became a friend. He had a nice piece of property. I don't want to get real deep into this, right. But he had a nice piece of property, whatever, on his property. Like one of his friends was supposed to have. He basically got set up, and he had took the downfall of that or whatever. You know what I mean? And that kind of like messed him up. That was like messed him up, and then everybody took everything from it. It wasn't even just the law that took from him, family and everything. They did it, and then jail, it blew his mind. He had a lot of time. I mean, that kind of like messed his mind up. Like, he lost it all. Literally, when you talk about losing it all, like, he lost everything. Loved ones, family, money. He lost it all. I mean, and my whole thing is like, I'm here. I came here when I was still a child.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? so it was like
A real eye-opening experience.
yeah, but like, and it's like now with me, like I like in my training, like and the training that I had is like I gotta relate with him, and so it's like I know that I can relate with him in certain aspects, like with things, right, and I could connect things to do that. But I'm like, how do I really do this?
Right. Like,
See
how
what
do
I'm
you get
saying?
through to him?
Yeah,
Yeah. Because it's like, especially like, you said he's a lot older than you and you were young. It's like, in your mind, you were probably thinking, like, yo, he's experienced so much more life than I have. Like,
and
how can I even provide any value?
and then right, and then you want to know what's so crazy about this, because it ended up being a good thing, like for him, and like how like he turned out or whatever, right? It hurted me, and I started getting upset, and I even stopped speaking to certain people right while I was locked up, because as he was getting better, like with himself, it was like people still was trying to fuck with him. Bro, CEOs, it mainly was dumb for real, because it was like a domino effect. It's like the CEOs will fuck with him, right? Then he'd get the back fucking with CEOs, but as why he fucking back with the CEOs and making the CEOs do their work, he's messing up the other inmates' comfortability, right? Like, cause and what he just doing to get back to the CEOs. So now, when you messing up somebody else, they now he got the inmates coming at him like,
Right.
yo, chill out. I mean, so it was like a thing of that. And then once he realized that, he said, all right, you know what, I got him. And I'm telling him, I'm like, look, you could do a couple of things. You can keep going through this or this. I'm like, I know you smart. If you sitting here telling me how to fix my credit and stuff like that, I'm like, I could bring you down some grievances. He said, man, that don't, well, it's like a write up, like, on staff. Like, you could write, like, they try to, like, get you to sweep it on the rug, especially if they got it on camera. You know what I mean? Like, if it's on camera, like, if it's a CEO on camera, like, kicking his door, banging, like, they see it. So I'm like, bro, that's all you gotta do. Man, when I tell you, this guy know words I don't know and all that, like, I'm telling you, he was real. It's just that, like, he was, what he been through, I feel like blocked his thinking.
Right.
For real.
I mean, it's hard, bro, because like why I got so emotional when you're sharing with me like that story. My life is not. I've obviously didn't go through that, but I can relate through it a lot, especially the part of where you're trying to do the best to be the best version of yourself, but the world just keeps knocking you down.
Yeah.
And that world could be the people closest to you, or it could literally mean the world, situations that happen that are your control. And it's like, am I ever going to be free? Am I ever going to be happy? And then you get stuck in your own mind, where you get to this point where it's like, man, no one really, like, you just, like, you talk to people, but you don't feel like no one's relating, or
right.
or you have, like, I got to a point where I had no one that I can talk to, because like you said before, if I went up to them like, yeah, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse, like, I went through it immediately, which I understand. The first thoughts, like, they feel sorry for you, and it's like they want to comfort you. It's like, no, I'm not.
I'm not asking you.
Right.
Like, I'm not asking you
to be treated differently.
Yeah, don't treat me differently.
And like, I understand that it's very like, I may talk about that like it's this minuscule thing in my life.
No, I wanna ask this, right? And I'm asking this because this is something that's still like real, like another like thing that's like that like
Tugs at you.
Yeah, it's like I really still don't know like how to like really be like, all right, you've been through this, and people gonna judge you, right? And not feel a way about that. Like, I still like sometimes I still be feeling some type of way
When people judge you.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have to be like when I talk about my personal life, because I'm not gonna lie, like, I never really been like I told you before, I never really been like, I don't really know.
You're not a social person like that.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of nothing that I've been through in my life, because that's who I am.
Right.
Like, that's me. I can't. I'm not. And
But you're
won't.
not one to talk about the things in your life until a situation calls for it, and you can, for lack of better words, like, you feel comfortable around the person you're talking about it to.
Right.
Like,
right.
they're open-minded enough to
Exactly.
not give you that judgment that you hate feeling from other people.
Now, it'd be like kind of like hard a little bit. It'd be like, oh, man, here we go with this shit. Like I gotta deal with this. So now it's like whatever they say or do, now I'm worried about what they say and do because of my reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because I know that I know for a fact that if you speak to me, I know I'm going to speak back.
And you
Right,
don't know how to like stop that.
right. So it'd be like if I'm giving you respect, I'm demanding that back. Like you going to give me my respect back, because if you giving me anything other than that, I'm going to give you that, but I'm going to give it times 10 though. Why? Because I know for a fact I've been giving you nothing but that.
Right. So it's like you don't there's a line. So
Yeah.
like
So that'd
that's
be hard for me, man. That'd be hard for me, man. I ain't gonna lie.
one of the things that have helped me, because I felt the same way, and I get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm nice, and then like I still continue to be nice to a particular individual, and it gets to a point where I just blow up on them. I'm like, bro, what is your problem? Like, and you just lay everything out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but see, and for real, it's like I'm not gonna lie. I be feeling like I don't be fair to myself sometimes.
That you don't what?
Like I don't be fair to myself because, bro, I like I'm really noticing that, bro. Like a lot of times, like it be like I'm not even gonna go over that way, or I'm not even.
Like you don't even entertain the idea of like something that could potentially go that way.
Yeah, but see though, bro, that's not fair
Because
because I'm
you
missing out.
right. Well, I mean,
Bro, because it could be. I'm talking about like anywhere though, because like that person could be like right now. Like let's say it was that day that me and you first met each other. If it was a person, I'm not talking about nobody specifically. I'm
right,
just
just in
saying
general.
in general. Like right, you was talking to this person, right, and you was over there. And me, the first couple words that we said to each other, we could have said those words to each other. But guess what I would have did after those words was that our conversation would have stopped right there.
Mm-hmm.
That like it would have been done. I would have been away from you
Right.
because
Like you don't even entertain the idea if a conversation is essentially start in a general direction that gives you the idea that okay, this is going to be a potentially good and authentic conversation. Instead, it
yeah,
might be
no, because it would have been like our conversation. If I would have stayed there, our conversation would have been what it was, and we would end up here, right? But now, if we would have put that person there, right? That was that like, well, we just gonna say bad energy, right? Like, I wouldn't have stayed around, bro.
oh, I'm understanding what you mean.
Like, I would
Yeah.
have rolled. I wouldn't have never got to meet you,
Right. Like you would have let someone else influence a decision that you would have made,
right?
which would have
And with
caused
me,
this to never happen.
yeah, and now that I'm getting older, it's like, bro, how many times did I do this?
Well, easier said than done,
Yeah, for
obviously.
sure, for sure.
But you can't, don't let that stop you because you probably did miss out a lot. You know, I missed out a lot.
Yeah,
But the beautiful part is obviously you acknowledge that you have the control to do that now and you're wanting to change that. One thing that has helped me drastically, believe it or not, was my wife. First started with me and understanding myself from a deep psychological perspective, right? Psychological and spiritual perspective and understanding, okay, this is how my mind works. This is why it works this way, right? And it's an assortment of things, right? How that looked like for me is, well, I went to therapy, had to see, psychologist and whatnot. And then through that, I've learned more about myself. And then I found spirituality and well, it found me. And then, I continued to pursue that and I learned more. Then when I went to college, I also studied psychology. And as I continued to learn, and then also I started like reading books from people like Jordan Peterson, who's a clinical psychologist. He used to have his own practice.
that's a great thing, man.
And I started learning from those things. And as I would read, I began to see parts of myself and in my life and connect in those in whatever it is that I was learning, whether it be through the Bible, whether it be through psychology, whether it be through reading a book someone else wrote regarding psychology. And as that started, I started cutting myself a lot of slack, not like letting myself off and being easy, but it's like, okay,
Right.
you need to breathe and relax on yourself because you realize this is just a natural part of the human. This is how the brain is wired to be. We have to make an effort to rewire it, right?
Yeah.
That is the same approach that as I developed that mentality, when my wife and I, obviously, again, before we were married and, the whole affair thing happened, when that particular thing occurred, it hurt. Of course it does. I'm not in any way justifying anything that she did. But at that point, I had developed such a deep understanding of myself. And because I consider myself an average human being
Right.
and I evaluated my life, I realized that there are worse things that I've done in my life that I'm not proud of, right? That I would never do now. But at that time, with the genetics that I had, the perspective that I had in life, the way that my brain works, that's what felt right to do at that moment. Right? That's the same way with her. There are events that occurred in her life, people that have hurt her and treated her in a very particular way, and things that were just completely out of her control that affected her, that forced her to think that that is the only option instead of sitting down and talking about what she's feeling.
Right.
You know, so that in itself caused me to give grace to other people by understanding and accepting that everyone else is going through a journey, right? So let's just say you, me, and this third individual that has the bad energy, we're having that conversation. I would, because maybe this is just because I'm in tune, but I think you're very in tune with yourself and your emotional state, and you can also see how other people are feeling based on body language. It's just kind of a generalization. If I started to see that you were uncomfortable but wanted to pursue that, and this individual was like bringing the bad energy, I would immediately call that out, but in a very methodical way, meaning that, okay, I want you to be a part of this conversation because I think that we can benefit from you because clearly you have something that may have happened to you in your life that is making you feel and think and behave the way that you're thinking. And I want to know what that is. Not because I'm trying to be a psychologist or anything, but it's like, let me understand you from a human perspective. From a base level human perspective, right? And then we can move forward. So then, like, if we were having that conversation, let's say this individual was like, "Oh man, you guys are just creating excuses for yourself and stuff like that," I would have turned. It's like, why are you saying that? Like, you know, like what is? I'm not saying that you're wrong. Maybe we are. Maybe you're seeing something, and I would immediately make them feel like they have the power to persuade the conversation because clearly they have something to say. So I would like. Not make them think, but I want to give them the power of the conversation.
Open up that door for them to have.
Right, exactly. And it's like, maybe you're seeing something we're not. Educate me. And then I will sit and I listen very thoroughly. Not listen to the sake of wanting to respond, but listening for the sake of understanding. And then see what they would have to say. And as I do that, I start to like understand little things here and there. Now, at first, this is going to might be really difficult for you, right? It might be a little bit barrier of an entry that might be a little bit easier, but at the same time, though, like it takes practice, and I've just done it so many times to so many other people, and like with you, you know, I learned to throw my garbage out 1st and I wore my stuff on my sleeve, right? And that, you know what that costs is like, wow, this guy's being real vulnerable with me then, and that creates a sense of comfortability for the other person because it's like, okay, clearly he has a past and he's sharing it. He's not going to judge me for my past.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, man, we're all scared to be judged. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved, you know, and that's what God calls us. He wants us to love every single, you know, love thy enemy as thy neighbor. I think that's how you say it.
I'm gonna be honest though, man. I'm in a phase right now in my life, man, like where I'm really not putting too much energy in that.
See, and that's the caveat. That's the problem that I have. I do it too much and give too much energy to people that I know I shouldn't, where I should draw the line.
Yeah, because like I'm realizing more and more that it's like no matter where you go in life or no matter where you've been, we gonna have them. They gonna be there.
It don't matter how successful you are. Someone's gonna be pissed.
They gonna be there.
Haters are gonna hate. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's
like so. It's like, man, I'm tired.
That's just my approach on it. But that has helped me not feel that sense of judgment, you know. And then, like, let's say I try it and it doesn't go anywhere. They're still shut off, and it's like, all right, well, at least I gave it an honest shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you're right. That's what That's what I've been trying to learn essentially since we started talking this summer. Is there are just some people that no matter how successful you may be, whatever that looks like in your life, they're never going to be happy for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And see, that's why now, like, I really been working on myself more, man.
It all starts with you. That's the whole reason why I started this.
My like our mental health and being able to let our mind flow and like our lives flow in the way that we want it to. And be happy like within, right, and not just having happy moments. Like that's what I'm really trying to create. A
full sense of joy.
Yes, I want that.
See, and that's.
I don't want just happy moments, bro. I got happy moments, but guess what else I got? I got a lot. I got a lot of pain, bro. A lot of torture in me too. I want to change that. It's about, for me right now, that's where I'm at. And with that, I'm really starting out, and that's the thing that's making me not care about the judgment, and what, because it's like I know what I'm after, and I know that it's there.
Right.
Bro, I've been through a lot, but I know that it's there.
I think for me, I just get too hung up on money, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's how much it's dictated, especially now. Let's take, for example, man, a gallon of milk is damn near $5 when it used to be $3. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everything's just going up, right?
For
And that's the
sure.
natural cost of inflation. But we also know that the current administration has not helped that. That's a different conversation we can get into some other time.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that's like, man, I want to make money. I
Right.
want to make a lot of money.
Right.
But then I said, and I'm like, why do you want to make money? I was like, well, because I want to help people in a way that
can
I
help
can
with a lot of problems.
Right. I want to specifically help other people, not just myself, of course, and my family.
Right.
But in order to do that in the way that I want to do it, because like this is help. Sometimes just having a conversation, sitting down, talking, listening. Like if someone, especially if it's someone new talking to me, like I'm just gonna listen.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's providing help and value that I can do. I've been doing that for 10 plus years. That's what prompted me to turn on the cameras. Like that's why I want to, because whether the camera's there or not, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been
Right.
sitting talking to all people's types of life, walks of life, and I've learned so much from them, and they too from me. Right. And that in itself is valuable. But it's like I want more than that, because unfortunately, of this world, there are just like, don't matter how much I sit and talk to someone, right? That's not gonna get him a house.
Right.
It might get him the mental, get them through the mental obstacles that they're going through to be able to put themselves in a job that may be able to work and work and work to get enough money to be able to save up for a house. But it's like, is life not more than putting in hours at a job? Like, how do you sit and begin to measure the value of what your time is worth? As you telling me that 60 hours of your life that you'll never get back because you're at work is really worth $25 an hour? Let's just say top end $28 an hour.
If it's gonna get you to where you want to be, if it's a stepping stone, I feel like if it's a stepping stone, I mean, for me, and the reason why I'm gonna say that, cause see, this is why, this is the thing that like a person that didn't take my path right, or it didn't been through what I've been through right, would disagree with. I made 19 cents an hour when I was locked up. So listen, so to go to that, right, and to go to where I'm at now and what I'm making now, and,
but
and look, right, look. So it's like, that's not, still don't make it worth that. Technically, no. Like, me being where I want to be, if you was asking me, if I was where I want to be and you was asking me that, I would say, hell no. It's not worth that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But me trying to get there, that's what it's taking me to get where I need to be at for me and my family. You see what I'm saying? For me and my family. So it's like, I'm using it for something that's taking it's taking more from me, but while it's taking that from me, in the long run, it's gonna give me
more
everything
back. Because you could sit at a job and that could be the next 20 years of your life, or that could be the next 5 years of your life of incredible sacrifice and grinding to set yourself up for something much bigger.
But see though, like, I got an out. Like, I got an out. For sure.
I see that's my thing.
I know I do.
How?
The same way I had out of the game. The same way I had out of the game, and I learned that it's already in place for me in my plan.
See, I don't feel like I have an out. That's my problem. I'm constantly that's how I feel stuck. I don't ever feel like what I was gonna say earlier is, like, you said you were making 19 cents an hour when you were locked up, right? It's up to you if you want to elaborate on this, or maybe I could be recalling it wrong, but I remember I think you said when you got locked up you had like $250,000 on you, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so clearly you were making really good money.
You see what I'm saying? Listen, in total, I didn't have $250,000 on me. But like in total, like of the things that I had and money that I had put up and stuff like that, yeah. And then to go from that, right, to go to
19 cents an hour.
You see what I'm saying?
But then to even go to $28 an hour making that kind of money, does that ever phase you?
No, not at all. Something for real, it's still not what I was used to before. Like I became going the right way. Like it's still not.
Like you wouldn't trade a day making that kind of money for 100 years in the other direction for like in the current direction you're going. Like you would prefer to stay in the current path that you're in because even though
For
you
sure,
may
for
not be
sure.
making that kind of crazy money that you may have been
Bro,
in.
my mental health was completely even more fucked up.
Oh, really?
Excuse me, but bro,
Nah,
my
you're good.
mental, I'm not perfect, bro. My mental health, I'm still dealing with mental health.
But being in that situation, this is work to you.
Oh my God. Like, that's what I mean by like a lot, my mind be at ease. Bro, it's a lot that come with that. A lot of people don't know it's a lot that come with that. Bro, not only is you got to worry about the police, you got to worry about people trying to backdoor you. You got to worry. It's so much that you got to
Right.
worry about
It's a
with that
Warfield, man.
lifestyle. I mean, is this person trying to get over on me? Like, I mean, it's so much that come with that. I mean, so many sleepless nights, so many times like being super nervous when you. I mean, so it's like, right now where I'm at right now, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I ain't complaining. And on top of that, I'm making nice money. And I got great insurance. This is what I'm there for.
The insurance is great. See,
I'm being for real. It's all a part. Look, for real, man. This is all a part. It's all a part of my journey, man. Our job is a part of my stepping stone, man. It's a part of my and for real, and it's helping me. Our job is helping me being able to deal with these different people. Remember how I was telling you,
Yeah.
with the communication, and even the people that been there for a while that be like dicks a little bit, I still give them that respect because they give it back, So it's like it's helping me a little bit. So,
right. It's what you need to be in this chapter of life. I guess that, like for me, maybe it's that it appears that you've had a lot that happened in a short period of time when you were younger.
Right.
I don't think I've ever experienced that. Everything that I've gone through in my life, unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately because it might be a good thing, but I guess in this particular aspect it doesn't help, but happened at a very subtle rate. And as a result of that, like, it's kind of like the ways that I can describe it is the difference. You know, when some people go off to war and there's just like an intense level of stress and adrenaline, it's almost like a high. And then you go back to regular life and you're like, holy shit, what is this? And for some people, they prefer to go back to it, but most people, they're like, God, this, like, I have such an extreme version on the other
All
side.
right, check this out. The same way, right? That same thing what you just said, right, is the same way on what I'm going through now in my life. I'm going through that right now in my life, bro. Like right now, I came home from federal prison in February 4th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been at home that long, right?
Yeah.
But I'm determined though, right? And it's like, how do I go from having, and this half of my life, like half of my life, I've been incarcerated.
Mm-hmm. Literally, yeah.
Like literally, right? So it's like, on the day to day, I fight with like being at ease.
Mm-hmm.
When I really am, it's like I fight with that. It's like I'm still being tense. It's like I'm still being like my mind, like mentally, bro. Like mentally, for real. Like sometimes, bro, like I don't even know. Like even thinking about it is like I just get scattered. I get scattered because, bro, that shit is hard to go from everything being tense, even when you relax, you tense.
Yeah,
to
bro.
Having to worry about a dude stabbing you. To have to worry about is you gonna be able to eat. To have to worry about, bro, it'd be real. It'd be real tense. So it's like now that I'm starting to have some type of normalcy, bro. It's like that's still even hard. I still even fight with that. You see what I'm saying? So a lot like what a lot of things it be kind of like crazy. And then the people that is in my life, right? The people that is in my life that don't know everything that because I don't, you don't, when you meet people and you growing and people was learning, you don't just put everything that you've been through in your life on the table. Like you never come into a relationship or friendship with just putting everything on the table. This is me.
I do now.
Yeah, no. So over time, no, for the most part, over time, when you build in a relationship, a person is getting to know you.
Right.
Right? And over time is either you either go stronger with this person or y'all stay friends. But it don't work. Y'all ain't
right.
Y'all bond ain't as strong, right? And it's like, even when I do have relationships with people, right? Male, female, right? It's like some of my reactions and some of the things that I do, people you don't understand because you never been through it. So it kind of like hard, and even with my emotions and when in relationships, right? And even my relationship now is like when I have moments like when I have to be by myself.
Right.
It's not a thing of like I want to be by myself. I don't want nobody around me. I'm
right.
irritated. No, like I have to give myself. I feel like everybody should give themselves that time. Now it used to be worse for me because like I spent a lot of time in the hole, so it was like I am used to being by myself.
Right.
But man, pardon me.
No, you're good.
But right, it's like I be needing that to slow down.
You need to disrupt the behavior because that's what helps you not feel that tenseness.
Because when I feel that tenseness now,
I don't know if that's a word, but
when I feel tense, now every answer is gonna be a different emotion than what I'm feeling. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
I do.
Because I'm gonna be real relaxed.
Everything is just approached from a much more. It's like when you give an answer, it's coming from like a different place, like a different part of your brain and your soul than it would be if you were more tense and stressed out. If it almost feels like
right.
Yeah.
So now is the thing of like people say, "Oh man, he being a fucking dick. Why he always upset?" And it don't be that.
Right.
It don't be that at all. Like,
right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's like I'm really trying to get out of that. Because now like. I'm trying to get out of that. I'm trying to get it out of that in the sense of like I don't want that part of my history and what I've been through to
carry over to the next phase of your life.
Right.
Same.
And for real, like that's real like hard because people really don't understand.
It's difficult because I mean that's so
like for instance, real quick, right?
No, you're good.
Like when you was just talking about like the relatives and like why you want the relatives to believe in you and when they don't believe in you, make you like it's a reason why you want to feel that, right? Listen, and for a person that don't understand, bro, you wouldn't know what they would say. Man, fuck what they think. Yep. I don't care about that, man. I don't care about man. You got. He gave you his daughter. She gave you his daughter already.
You good. You got it. What do you need him for?
Go ahead, go.
Yeah.
But they don't understand your path and what you've been through, bro.
Right.
They don't understand on
what's causing me to think and feel that way.
And want the acceptance and the love from them.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I mean, they like you were saying earlier, like they know some of it. They know of it, but it's like they don't know it as intimately as my wife knows it.
Exactly.
They don't know it as intimately, especially as I know it. You know, like my wife knows it a lot, but she doesn't know it the way that I know it. She knows it as best I can describe it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like it kind of be like hard. And now I'm at it, and also for me was and it's working for me a little bit. Like it's still like mess with my heart a little bit. It be like they just I tell myself they don't understand. They don't know.
Yeah.
I mean
I need to get to that point, bro, because this is causing a massive knot in my chest. Like quite literally, I just feel like there's this knot that just won't unwind in my chest no matter what I do. I
get there sometimes when I feel lonely, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what it
that's
and I don't be. like because like I'm always around I'm always around like one of my kids or something.
Right,
like
right.
that.
You're not. That's what I was saying earlier. Where it's like when you feel alone amongst the presence of people that normally wouldn't make you feel alone. It's like you're with people that you care about, but
Yeah.
internally you just kind of have this feeling of
Yeah.
of.
But but you know that kind of like make me like that kind of like make me like want to be alone, and I don't want to go back to that. Like,
Right.
I don't want to like all the time. Like I don't want to go back to that being alone like all the time, and you know.
But you want your moments to be able to disconnect, so you feel relaxed, so you become
No, so when I am, this is what I want. Like, and this is what like I go for. It's like when I it's a thing of me being at peace and me being able to relax, not have to
like
be
physically relaxed.
Yeah, not have to be in tune with a conversation or
like disconnect.
or like, oh, I'm in this room now. This person might want to walk by. Like just the simplest things, bro.
Dude, I try to explain that to my wife as well too, because like, see, my wife we're polar opposites, which is a good thing because we can learn off of each other.
Right.
I think too much on the future and I'm not enough in the moment. She's the polar opposite. She struggles to think and project in the future because she's so much in the moment, both of which are great things to have, but terrible if you have one without moderation. And like with her, she can easily relax a little bit more and kind of disconnect because she's just focusing on what's right in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But where she struggles is like, okay, listen, we got to plan this out. This is why we got to plan it. Or like better situation.
See, that's me. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't listen. Don't try to plan something out with me. 9 months down, 10 months. Don't do that.
Nah.
We not listen. Hold on. When we getting closer, look, I'm telling you, don't ever say, yo, 6 months from now, we're gonna need to go ahead. You're gonna have to come back on the podcast and we're gonna have to do this and see where we at. No, I'm like, all right, look, 2 months before we get there, just be like, yo, actually, this date gonna be free. You mean I'm more of like that. So you saying that your wife, she
planning like that though. When I mean planning is like, all right, let's say we go into the boardwalk, right?
Right.
All right, I'm with her and my kid. Immediately my mind's like, all right, should shit hit the fan? What are the likely things that could happen, how they would happen, and what would they potentially look like? Things that are reasonable and could happen should shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. That's when I plan and think ahead in the future in that aspect. Or better yet, when I'm thinking about, all right, what do I want to achieve in my life? Like in this particular instance, I want to build a life, like the motto says, I want to build the life that you love by inspiring, leading, and motivating and being honest and throwing my garbage out there. And so, right? So then I put that as the goal and I reverse engineer it backwards. She cannot do that. She can't even think about what it is that she wants to do because she's like, I don't even know what I want to do now. How could I figure out what I want to do then? And it's like, I tried to explain this to everyone. And I always have that. This is what makes me, I think, better to be able to connect with people and can guide them. This is why I think consultations for the people that I've consulted have actually been tremendously well, because most people tend to think more and live more in the moment than they actually can think and project in the future. Right. So like,
I might have a balance with that a little.
I that's what I'm trying to get to, is to get to a balance, a more balanced state.
I think I do. I want to think I do anyway. For real. I've been for real.
I would think that you do. I mean, it seems like you're like, okay, this is what's in front of me. This is what I got to do. But then there's also a part of you that's like, okay, but this is also a stepping stone to the bigger part.
Yeah, I think because I feel like with certain things have to be planned. And when you plan, I'm not talking about like planning like we just talking about like this is what
vacation.
We're going to do. Yeah, I think some things have to either be written down, you either can write it down. And if you're not a writer and you're a texter, you can pull out your phone and if you don't got an iPhone and got the notes in your phone, you can go ahead and write it down, text it down in your
somewhere.
phone. Yeah, that's planning. I mean, anything that you write down and you don't, that's planning. But just saying you're gonna do something and saying this is what it's gonna be, that's an idea.
I like helping people get past the idea phase, but most people can't even come up with an idea.
Right.
Because like for me, excuse me, I don't even think the mic picked that up. I'm very good at visualizing myself in different shoes. Mm-hmm. Whether that is the shoes of a life that I imagine or the shoes of, like, for example yourself. And I think that this is what, like, even though I didn't go through what you've been through, I think this is what allows me to connect with people very well. And I have it. My therapist pointed it out anyways, because like I've talked about you about therapy and stuff like that. And I was like, like our conversations and like how great they are and stuff like that. And and just in people in general. And she's like, it seems like you have this consistent pattern where you're very capable of naturally connecting with people in a way where they feel comfortable and they share things with you. And I'm like, yeah, but that's probably because I throw my garbage out there and I'm just as broken as they are and have been.
Right. I mean, and I feel like that's most people, man.
Yeah,
I feel like
but people had it. I don't like that.
bro, that wall.
Yeah.
And see,
Or the other hand, where you are vulnerable and people use it against you.
and a lot of people been that way. A lot of people, mainly men, and you want to know, and we the main ones that hide it the most.
Bro, I mean, society tells us to do that, bro.
Yes, and I'm not, and I'm not talking about. I'm talking about even with the simplest feeling.
Oh no.
Like, you see, it's like it really like be hard, and I'm not gonna lie. With my son, right? In the beginning with my son, I used to like when he like lost or something like that at playing, or like when like he fell, and I used to be like, stop crying, you are. I grew up like that, and I feel like I was taught wrong, and then I had to stop that, bro, and it hurt me because, bro, that was wrong. This is why we not in tune with our feelings, because as a child,
You're taught wrong.
yeah, you see what I'm saying, and it's like now with my son now, he's so, bro, my son now is better at with saying how he feel than I am.
At this, exactly. That is the goal. And I had this exact so that right there, to kind of go back in a previous conversation, was the issue that I had when my wife and I started dating, right? Because I would point things out about her parents, and it's like, but it wasn't until recently that she realized, look, your parents have your best interest in mind,
Right.
and they are trying to teach you the best way they know how to.
That's it.
But as we continue to grow as a person, we realize that may not have been the most effective way.
Absolutely.
And that's how you essentially get generational trauma passed down through families.
Right.
Right. And that's that right there. What you did is an interruption of those generational cycles. And that's the same thing. That is the main goal of this podcast, man. I don't want people to feel that way.
Because it's like this, right?
Or I do want people to feel like they can break generational trauma, but I don't want them to feel like they're passing it on.
Right. Because it's like this, right? It's like this. Like, most fathers, right? We're going to say it do be the opposite. Sometimes the mother be the disciplinarian and the father don't. But, like, in this society now, most fathers is the one that's
doing the discipline.
Yeah. Their little boy or their little girl. Like, it's either with the little girls, either they're raising their voice. Or, I mean, either way, like, that's how it normally go. And with that, with them being, like, most, they really don't be like, they ain't saying what you crying for. Well, they not explaining to them what's that. They not explaining to them the feeling that they feeling right now. They're not letting them let out.
Exactly, because there's a very complicated emotion that they're feeling because they're a child learning.
And then
it's
some of them, it's some feelings, bro. It's some feelings that I still feel to this day, bro. I'm 31 years old. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No.
You see, so and
I feel
that's
the same way.
And that's one of the reasons why I changed that with my son, and I'm happy that I did.
That makes me happy too, because like there's a part of me, obviously every kid is different in how they learn, but there's also a big part of me, like, that's the approach that I wanted, because the amount of times that my in-law said, we're going to baby him or babying him, I was like, listen, if babying him means that I'm sitting there making this a safe space for him to feel the way that he needs to, ain't no need for him to go find somewhere else.
All right, so check it out, right? My friend's son, right? Now, mind you, I done told you where I
Ladies and gentlemen, right around this time is when my camera ran out of storage, so I do apologize for that. But if you guys are enjoying the podcast, we'll be doing a part 2 with Lord because he still has so much to share. He says he has not even scratched the surface of everything else that he has to share, which I am thoroughly looking forward to. If you guys are watching over on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you guys don't miss that part 2. Or if you're on Spotify or any of the other platforms that we use for our podcast, please leave a rating, and I'll catch you guys in the next podcast.